Hi guys, I'm going to continue my little series on ones, fours, and fives. I'm going to try and keep this now in tiny little bite-sized pieces so you have a small mission to master, instead of giving you like months worth of study material in just one lesson. So let's take the three most popular chords in the world, G, C, and D. I'm not going to teach you those, hopefully you know them. If you don't, be patient with it. Put in some practice and you'll learn all this stuff as you go. So for a lot of guitar players, that's all they know. The big open string versions, some people call them the campfire versions. Now, some people get past that a little bit and they might learn the bar chord versions. G, C, and D, or G, C, and D. Hopefully your ears can hear that those are the same three chords I'm playing every time. Now, when we learn different versions of a chord, we call that voicings. On the guitar, there's literally hundreds, maybe thousands of different voicings you could learn if you just want to memorize a ton of stuff. But what I'm going to show you is some really small, tiny versions of these chords, because you don't have to play big versions, especially if there's other instruments, if there's a bass playing, or if someone else is already playing the big version. It's really amazing when you can play smaller versions of these chords. I bug all my students about this stuff. I call them mini chords. And if you spend enough time with these, you'll get more and more comfortable with them. And you'll be able to create some amazing music, some new rhythm guitar parts. You can even solo with these shapes. So today, I'm just going to teach you a couple little small shapes that are going to get you through some really interesting stuff. And I'm going to explain how you can move these shapes around as well. Because with one shape, you can play every major chord there is, just by dragging it left and right. It's one of the amazing things about the guitar. So, we're going to go to G. Now, eventually, memorize the notes in your guitar. If you haven't already, well, it's usually really hard if you do it the normal way. But I happen to have the world's most ridiculously easy way that I show my students as well that gets you memorizing the entire fretboard. We won't get into that today, but let's talk about this. So G on the second string is fret number 8. Now we're going to learn a little tiny mini chord shape that's going to get you a G chord on that, well, on the 4th string, the 3rd string, and the 2nd string. So check it out. 9, 7, 8. 9, 7, 8. Those are the frets. Listen to those sounds. Take a look at my fingers if you need to. And get comfortable with that little shape. So there we go. There's your G. Now, next, this little guy here is the diagonal line. I'm on 10, 9, and 8. Don't get confused. This guitar is weird and has a dot on 10 instead of 9. Totally wacky. So, 10, 9, 8. That's a C chord. In this case, C is number 10 on your 4th string. It's really, really useful to figure out where our root note is. The root note is the main note in your chord. For the C chord, the root note is C. This is how we're going to move our chords around really easily. So if C is number 10, well, D is always going to be 2 frets away. D is number 12. So we're going to do the same little diagonal shape. So 12, 11, 10. And that's a D chord. So all of a sudden, there's the 3 most popular chords in the world. G, C, and D. And since I'm talking about 1s, 4s, and 5s, I might as well give them numbers. This is going to be 1, 4, and 5 in the key of G. G is our home bass in this case. Now, you can do anything you want with those chord shapes. Let's say we're playing a reggae song. We can go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. Or single notes, and you can play any rhythm you like. Experiment with that. See what kind of cool rhythms and cool patterns you can come up with. If someone else is strumming away on the chords down here, it sounds really amazing if you're doing something else. So it's really as simple as that. Think of those two small shapes. And the last thing, almost the most important thing we're going to talk about today, is how you can move those shapes around. This is super cool. So remember, for that little G chord shape, the G is on the second string. So I would say this is a major chord with the root note on the second string. And in this case, that's your middle finger. So all we do, wherever you are on the second string, let's say, there we go, fret number 5, that's an E. I move my middle finger to fret number 5, I form the same little finger shape. There's E major, done. So you can move it anywhere you like. If I go to fret number 10, it happens to be an A, so there's an A major. Simple as that. Memorize the shape and memorize which string the root note is on. So let's finish off today by doing that same thing with that little major shape right there. So in this case, remember 10, 9, and 8. That was a C major chord, and C was the 10. So in this case, the root note is on the 4th string. That's all you need to move it around. Once you know how to find the names of your notes, or once you actually memorize the names of your notes too. So let's put this in a random place. We're going to go right there. Do you know what note number 5 on your 4th string is? Well, it happens to be a G. So, form our shape. There's G major. Number 7 is an A. So, there you go. Form your shape. And there's an A major. So you just drag your shapes around. Eventually there's plenty more shapes we can learn together. But just start with those two. And apply them to whatever chord progression you want. As long as you've got major chords, try and use those shapes. Find those notes, move them around to different places, and make up your own parts, your own layers that you can add to whatever music you're playing. So that's the idea. Think about that, and I'll see you guys later.